The rationale of the high, low, or in-between resource is aimed to raise awareness of the stereotypes and prejudice experienced in society based on socio-economic status. It also aims to highlight the disadvantages and gaps experienced between the socio-economic groups.
In Phase 1, students will be asked to look at the images provided in their resource packs. Groups are to evaluate and assign the images to the appropriate SES groups on the whiteboard. There will be a time limit of 1 minute to place each image onto the most appropriate SES group. Once all images have been placed, a class discussion will take place where student groups will be asked why they allocated the images to the particular SES group.
In Phase 2, students will be asked a variety of questions, and using the paddles provided will have 10 seconds in their groups to answer each question by holding up the corresponding paddle. After each question, students will participate in a quick class discussion reflection as to why they provided those answers. The further scenarios in Phase 2 are to challenge students' conscious and subconscious stereotypes towards socio-economic status. These further scenarios are in an attempt to make students aware of their own conscious and subconscious preconception of socio-economic status. In Phase 3, students will be asked a series of mathematical questions. These questions have been developed in 3 stages, ranging from basic knowledge to more challenging questions. Students in their groups will be randomly given 2 resource packets for this phase. All groups will receive the same resources in packet 1, being pen and paper. However, groups will be randomly given different resources in packet 2. For answering part 1 of this phase, students are only allowed to use packet 1 from their resources. For answering parts 2 and 3, students are allowed to use packets 1 and 2 from their resources. Students will be given 1 minute to write their answer on the paper provided and hold up their answer. This phase creates awareness by highlighting the gaps between socio-economic status within our society. This phase is transferable between other KLAs by amending questions to reflect the same. For example, PDHPE, by having an obstacle course layout, having questions indicative of high SES. If applies to students, students are able to move forward missing an obstacle. If the question does not apply to the students, they are to remain at the first obstacle. Once all questions have been asked, students are able to start their obstacle course. High SES students would be closer to the finishing of the obstacle course, while low SES students would remain at the start. This further highlights and is indicative of the advantages and disadvantages between socio-economic groups within schools and within our society.
Frere's problem-posing education concept has influenced the development of this resource, as students are asked to draw on their own personal experiences and influence that have shaped their opinions and decisions when labelling SES groups. This is advantageous as teachers also become learners as they listen and interact with the student justification dialogue. This also allows for students to develop critical thinking skills and to question information presented to them rather than purely accepting it. Critical pedagogy is essentially committed to the development and involvement of a culture of schooling that supports the empowerment of culturally marginalised and economically vulnerable students. It aims to challenge and question the homogeneous culture whilst encouraging various views and perspectives to be expressed by those experiencing the discourse. The high, low or in-between resource establishes opportunity is not equal for all, as the critical pedagogy claims education provides.
Critical race theory is a theoretical framework addressing racial inequalities and power relations in relation to society and culture, with class being linked as a central theme of race. The notion of colourblindness is critiqued as treating all students the same as proposed to foster privilege and socio-economic advantage, as the individual student's situation, experience and background is not taken into consideration. Critical race theory is addressed in high, low or in between, as social and cultural assumptions about race are challenged, and Phase 3 in particular demonstrates the differing resources students may have access to due to their class, highlighting how some students may be disadvantaged compared to others and limiting their opportunities and academic outcomes.
Practice theory considers social structures and the interplay between capital, habitus, and social field. Bodhi provides capital can be social, economic, and cultural, acting as a sort of wealth or currency. The amount of capital a person has seems to equate to their level of power and access to the opportunities within the social structure. High, low, or in between looks at how people are stereotyped due to their social, cultural, or economic capital, illustrating gaps between socio-economic classes. To challenge these stereotypes that establishes disadvantage.